resistant to water or something like that.
Okay.
The inside is more absorbable, so if you spit or something, they absorb it more. The outside tend to be a little bit more water resistant.
So it's best to put the white inside and the blue
Yeah,
outside.
you don't have a problem. You're like, you have like, yeah, Hollywood.
I got my I used to wear a shield.
Oh, even better.
So the blue in or the blue out?
Blue out.
Blue out.
Yeah.
So you got it right. You got it right.
For real.
So, he's answered a question before I introduced him again. Dr. Eldo Fletcher, who is my neighbor across the street, and he moved over here last month. So, I walked over, and he came over and met me, and he'd already met Tracy, and so I asked him to come over and speak on the virus since he is a surgeon at JOAN Hospital. So, Dr. Fletcher.
So, I take it, coming from what you said before, but I want to introduce. So, I actually came here in Nashville March 30th. So, I missed the tornado. But I got through in the right of pandemic. The hospital, to convince me to come here, they actually got me an apartment. And I find that the apartment was more expensive, and luckily the hospital was paying the rent. Then the rent was more expensive than the mortgage, so I decided to buy a house. I was looking for a house, and so I came over here. So when I came here the March 30, I went to the hospital, and I was the only one with a mask. So because my background, I'm Italian, so my mom lives in Italy, and I was listening to the Italian having problem with coronavirus since February, and I know how many people were dying, and how important was the mask and so forth. When I was telling her, they were taking me like, you know, what the hell is doing, blah blah blah, until the governor decided to make it a mask, okay. So I guess the governor without an MD is more important than MD, and it was a bit more about the virus. So I'm like, yeah, Tennessee, I'm here, right? So, next thing is, why we wear the mask? Have you ever thought about it? Since we talk about masks, huh?
To protect your neighbor. Right.
To protect others.
Others, yeah.
To protect others correctly. Because the problem is, like, if you have the virus, you can give the virus, but if it goes on the spit, you know, in the water, and if you're breathing or something. Now, there are different masks. The one that you use here, they're all bad. The mask that you use there is okay, but it's not perfect, because if you have a patient that is really have a problem, you need a particular mask or particular filter or something. It's called N, like Nancy, 95. But you know, those are expensive. We use that when now we only have problem with people that actually have problems, so we use that and this on top. The one that I wear, as you know, this is different from yours, is actually from surgery. I'm a surgeon, I take advantage of that. And those are usually a little bit better because they're thicker inside, so they have more layers. But because we spend time in surgery with this mask, it's also good to breathe. The N95 is impossible. So I like to take the steps. And, you know, sometimes I take 10 flight of steps, and Nashville in general is pretty tall building, right? So with this, I can do 10 steps without a problem. But with the N95, it's just, I cannot breathe. You know, I don't know how they breathe. So I don't know how the sports people want to do sports with the mask. It's impossible. I can't even do my elliptical or run with the mask. I just die. So, to protect the others. So it usually comes like, you know, in meters, 2 meters. Like about 6 feet is even too much. It's about 5 feet and a half. But 6 feet is easy to remember. And the distance and the touching. But you know, the most important thing is the mask that everybody has and touching. What is touching? Not touching people. But if you touch people, it's okay. The problem is this. But don't touch yourself. Because you know how many times we scratch our nose, we scratch our eyes, we put the finger inside the mouth or something. I mean, if you see video of that, it's amazing how many times we do a day. And that's really what the problem is, right? So that's where we have a problem with that. Now, because of the virus, for instance, if you come and have now surgery at our place, you get a test of the virus. If you are positive, negative, you proceed with the surgery, otherwise you don't. But during the time in which we're all closed up, there was no surgery on people that were positive and no elective surgery as well. So now there is a bunch of extra people that are coming back because for 3 or 4 months were not able to do anything. They were very strict on that. What is the problem of the virus? The virus attack the airway, right? Let's put it that way. So there are different viruses. So I like my epidemiology, by the way. So there are different viruses. And these viruses don't have really a body. Think about it, having a person without a body has a type of genetic substances that needs a body to recreate. It cannot recreate by itself, right? So they attack the body and they start to replicate if they find good. And by the time they replicate it, they get seen by our immunodefense. And then the immunodefense, when they go there, they create the inflammation, they create stiff lung, and when you have stiff lung, you cannot breathe, you have to be intubated. So that's all I'm going to say. Don't worry, I'm not going to go ahead. So you need to be intubated if you have that virus, and that's the problem. Now, she mentioned something about the Spanish flu, and I like that, so I want to beat that a little bit more. The Spanish flu in 1921 in New York, right? Now, how many people die in your opinion? So the question there are two answers. At the first wave or the second wave? Who died more on the Spanish flu in 1921 in New York? The people that died to the first wave, so the first impact of the virus in New York, or the second wave, the second impact on New York? So how many go for first wave?
For the Spanish flu or the corona?
Spanish. I want to make the point. Don't worry, I'm driving the point. How many did they say the second? Exactly. So, do we learn anything from history? No. We're going to have more infection from the second wave because it's the same damn virus and RNA, kind of the family, you know? They can call Corona, they can call Heineken or Stella Artois, right? They're all beers, but it's the same type of virus. So the second wave is going to be worse than the first wave. And who is carrying it? The healthy carrier. The healthy carrier are like younger people. And if you notice, as soon as they open the bar and as soon as they open Broadway, poof, Nashville becomes one of the hot spots in the United States. Same thing happened in California, same thing happened in Florida. You go to the beach, you go to the bar, you're screwed. Sorry. So, if you go downtown Nashville, there is the big sign, the police sign, if you don't wear the mask, you're going to be fined. And everybody is walking without mask and the police say, ha ha ha, ha ha ha. They don't stop anybody. So that's a control. Those are the people that bring it. The healthy carrier. Who is going to be affected? The people that are not healthy, I guess, if we can put it that way. But you know, there was a 17-year-old that died in Portugal. Why? Because he has psoriasis. And because the psoriasis was taking particular medication that was killing his immunodefense, therefore when the virus came in, he went straight to it and died. So people that have disease, particular disease, people that are immunosuppressed, people that take certain medication, are more sensitive to the effect of the virus, and being more sensitive, they might have a higher chance to pass. Alright? Now, did I scare you enough? I can keep on now. Don't touch, yourself. Basically, if you go out or shop or something like that, you have a car or something, come back, drive back home, and then bring something to clean around, and that's it. That's all you have to do. Because the virus is not going to get through the skin. It's going to get through mucosa, like mouth, eyes, nose, where they can contact and pass through.
Does it get on your clothes?
It can get on your clothes, but it's not going to attack you because usually, first of all, they had some study in Europe that show that on a surface, the virus can actually leave, but they find that on the raw surface, like plastic or something, they can leave like an hour or 2 hours. They can actually, they try to burn it, they try to burn it at 90 degrees and did not die. It takes like 120 degrees to die in 5 minutes. So it's pretty good. So don't think that because it's hot, the virus is going to die. It's not going to die. What about with the cold now? Anybody? And then I finish here. What about with the cold? Cold is coming, right? Mm-hmm. That's part of the life, right? Earth. So what is going to happen with the cold? What's going to happen in September, October? It's going to be a lot of fun because you're going to have two viruses. The Rona is coming back because it's going to have waves of stays, plus you have the flu. And the combination is going to be dismal. So we have